Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Tuesday morning, November 24th, 2020. I'm the man they call Meathead. And before we get to our good friend Dave Herro, we're going to talk about the sponsors real quick. Manscaped.com is making you silky smooth. We'll ask Dave in a second if he's gotten that, trademark and copyrighted, because I feel like he needs to talk to the Manscaped people. But the promo code PWR will get you 20% off. Buy all your Manscaping needs. Christmas is coming up. Make sure that your hairier friends that you give gifts to are getting silky smooth. And our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com. Normally, we would tell you to use the promo code PWR360, but Black 30 for the Black Friday shopping will get you 30% off from collarandelbowbrand.com. Let's bring in Dave now. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. And yes, silky smooth is it's a way of life, and it should be for every. Well, I don't think I can, because I'll be honest, I stole it from Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Of course you did. And make you silky smooth.
Because it's all about hummus and fizzy bubbla with
fizzy bubbla.
The Zohan. Yes. Yeah, and the girl in the movie, she was beautiful. So it's like, it's like, why not, right? So.
Hey, you talking about Mariah Carey or the other one?
No, not Mariah Carey. Now, of course, I can't think of her name, but she's
gorgeous.
Definitely. Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I got a one-off question off to the side. I love Adam Sandler. He's still working, doing Netflix movie. Do you think that might have been the last good movie that he pumped out of the theaters?
I think so. I really do. Well, I don't know. He did 2 movies with Salma Hayek and Grown Ups.
Well, Grown Ups came after, so Grown Ups 1 and 2 were okay. But, really, there was an end there, where it kind of just...
Well, it's because his audience got older.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
99% of his audience also growed up and matured. I didn't, so I'm still looking for my, poop jokes.
And it was Emmanuel Chiriqui. I think she was in that HBO show also. I forgot what it was.
I can't pronounce it, but she was beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of beautiful, the 30-year career was absolutely beautiful. But last night, the farewell to The Undertaker left me wanting more. When they had the main event, honestly, pretty early, I'm like, they must be doing all the Undertaker stuff at the top. That's great. He deserves that spot because, he debuted 30 years ago. Roddy Piper yelling out, look at the size of that ham hock. And now 30 years later, he's going to put a button on it. The entrances for all the people that, probably had dinner with him the night before, a big celebration, were longer than what we got with The Undertaker. Your thoughts on the farewell and the hologram of Paul Bearer in there?
Well, let's be honest. The year 2020 has been a shit show for all things sports entertainment, pro wrestling, life in general for almost everybody. And, Sunday night is one of the nights where you really needed an audience to get that moment. We all saw the Shawn Michaels send-off. We all saw the Ric Flair send-off, the Edge send-off, and just the magic and the emotion involved. And unfortunately, we could not and we won't get that for Undertaker. And the other thing is that, as terrible as it is that we couldn't have people in the building, a live audience for the farewell, let's be honest. For 30 years, The Undertaker lived the gimmick. He was the dead man. So were we expecting him to come out with 15 to 20 of his closest friends, and he walks out there in a suit and tie?
I thought you said Ewoks.
It could have been Ewoks. Who knows? And he's out there in a suit and tie, and all of a sudden just starts talking and saying thank you. The Undertaker's not a please and thank you guy. So
I expected more out of the others, so Undertaker could just do his thing.
But okay, so what were the others going to do that they haven't already said and done?
Yeah, and again, that's it's no fault on anyone. No one did wrong here. It's just I thought I was getting more, and I was left wanting more because we got him standing in the ring, hugging, kissing. That's it.
Is expectations is the first step to disappointment. And a lot of people just thinking, listen, Undertaker he's done when he's on TikTok now, and then he's charging $1,000 for a 30-second cameo, and it's like he is cashing in on all of this.
I mean, he's selling wine now, Undertaker wine.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want the send off, watch the 2 podcasts he did with Steve Austin. Yep. Those were fantastic.
Yeah, they were.
And not to name drop, but Sunday night after the pay-per-view, I was talking with Nash, because he messaged, we were talking back and forth, and he was there, and we talked about it. I'm like, I go, I never had Undertaker in my top 10. And I said, and I think I realized why. I go, because he was always consistently good.
Yeah.
And it's like we took him for granted. He never, for 30 years, he was always on TV. So we never missed him enough that we would put him on the pedestal. So
the Cal Ripken, basically. I mean, he just showed up to work every day.
He was, and he may have only wrestled 1 or 2 times a year in the end, but he was an attraction at that point. But he worked with Hogan, Piper, Jake Roberts, Macho Man, maybe Andre the Giant, I'm not sure. But he has worked with everybody except Sting. You know what I mean? And it's just like it's a special career, and the respect he has, no matter what they could have done for the farewell, it would not have been good enough.
Yeah. And like I said, it's no one's fault. It's just, I guess that we did take it, for granted, because 30 years ago, I mean, you and I are pretty close to the same age. Obviously, I'm, younger than you are, and we can tell when we look at each other. But 30 years ago, I remember watching the Gobbledygooker come out at Survivor Series 1990.
Yep.
And I didn't know that guy would continue on. Here I am, father of 2 or 3, and, you being, a father of a kid that's going to be living in Louisville. I mean, so... Whew.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I was 18 when Undertaker debuted as The Undertaker. It's just like, who would have thought that gimmick would have lasted and had been successful as long as it was?
I personally felt I was good when he returned, because again, everybody else, I'm a different person, obviously. You know this, Dave, and everyone listening knows this. Everybody loved the dead man, but I love the dead biker guy. I loved American Badass Taker. Yeah. And when he showed up at WrestleMania, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's because you're all about Limp Bizkit. You love to be rolling.
Right. It's all about the nookie.
But you know what the crazy thing was? And Cal and I, when we were watching it together, Dad's like, he goes to me, Dad, look at all the men in the ring. I'm like, yeah, I can't think of a time there's been that many guys over 6 feet tall in a WWE ring in a long time.
Ooh, and poor Show struggled to get in for a little bit there.
I mean, hey, those bodies are beat up.
Oh, of course they are.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you have guys like Kane and Big Show and Kevin Nash and Triple H and Booker T and JBL, it's just like
Flair and I mean everybody that was in there.
But they were, it's just like those were men. Those were men, and they were at least 6 feet tall, with the exception of Shawn Michaels.
Right.
It's like it's just amazing how much the professional wrestling talent aspect of everything has changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's gonna kind of segue us into Raw from last night too. Let's talk about it. Big Keith Lee next week is going to have a shot to go for the WWE Championship. He is going to be.
Yeah, he's got to win that. He's got to win that triple threat, and I mean, it was a good match. I mean, it definitely made Keith Lee. But here's the thing: Keith Lee has yet to win, with the exception of his debut against Randy Orton on the main roster. He has yet to get a definitive victory.
So as much as he
won
like
by
to see him, I was going to say, as much as I'd like to see him go towards that, I don't see him winning, and I'd like to see him start working with Bobby Lashley. I think there's something there. Mm-hmm. But again, we're talking about men, big boys.
yeah, those were two beasts in the ring going back and forth. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured that was going to be, the way the three-way was going to play out because of just how they've been doing things lately. But good for Keith Lee to be in that spot. And man, I just wish that there was a live audience to truly gauge who's getting over and who isn't.
Yeah, it's tough. Here we are. It's November. I mean, we really pulled back on the audiences. I'm going to say early March, right? Maybe late February.
Yeah.
So what are we at?
February.
9 months now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is our world. And they're almost done in the Amway Center because they're going to Tropicana Field the beginning of December.
Yeah, which will be great because they should then be able to let people in.
Right.
Because
I think it's a slow process, but I think that's where they're heading. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
And, we'll get a nice big stadium show. We really got a breath of fresh air when they got the Thunderdome, obviously, in Amway. It's a breath of fresh air for the CWC, the Capital Wrestling Center, where NXT performs. And again, I'm excited for the next step with Tropicana. Now, how long can they make that last? Because the Rays will start playing baseball there again next year.
Yeah, but that's not going to be until
March.
March or April?
Yeah, WrestleMania, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because first games of the season are usually the last week of March.
There you have it. Then they got it all figured out until then.
And, they're good to go. So a couple other big spots on Raw last night. Raw is still a little bit of a struggle for me to watch, but last night was the first time in a long time I watched Raw without fast forwarding, starting in an hour and a half late and then just zipping through it. I actually watched Raw. Mm-hmm. I still enjoy Alexa. I love the different little pieces that she keeps adding to her. I don't know if we'd call it Awoken, not to steal anything from Matt Hardy, but her Firefly Funhouse Alexa.
You know what's cool about Alexa Bliss right now is she is going to get a ton of heat, not just because of her character, but now because she's covered up her body.
Yeah.
That's
intentional.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I'm like, oh, you know what? That's awesome. She's coming out. She's all covered up. You can't see her body. That's going to drive people nuts. And now it's so much easier for her to get more and more heat.
Right.
So, well done.
No, that's absolutely. And, we had talked about this. You and I did about a month or 2 months ago when we had these multiple people going after Drew McIntyre. You had Randy Orton, you had The Miz, and you had The Fiend. Well, now we see that it's kind of splintering off, and it's going to be Orton and The Fiend going back at each other again.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And I like Randy Orton against The Fiend. I don't want to see Randy Orton against Bray Wyatt. I want to see The Fiend.
Oh, The Fiend. Now, do you think they do another cinematic match coming up at TLC?
God, I hope not. That I don't want to see. And I don't, because those absolutely suck right now because they've already, as the young kids say, they've jumped the shark on it and it's no longer
young
fun.
Kids. That's a Happy Days reference from the late 70s, Dave.
Yeah, but the young kids are now using it more than we ever did.
Because I was there watching that episode when Fonzie had his brown leather jacket on and on a what was he on? He was skiing on water skis, jumped over a shark.
Yeah. Because the Fonz is just that freaking cool.
Do you know the side story here? Do you know the Fonz said a lot because Henry Winkler had a bit of a issue doing his lines, and from what I understand, he had a stuttering problem too.
Oh, that I did not know.
So I mean, he obviously overcame it. Great actor, but he had an issue, and that's how he got past it. He's supposed to be a sub character and blew up into an American icon.
Yes, he did. He made Milwaukee famous. He
did make Milwaukee famous. Unfortunately, people keep vandalizing the damn statue. I don't know what location it's in now, but there is a bronze Fonz somewhere down there.
I agree. They need to stop that nonsense.
That's right. Hey, I got a question for you too. And I don't read the Twitter machine often, but I did read it, and I happened to see something from our good friend Drew Bay and you as far as the complaining on the restart of the match between Hurt Business and New Day. I told you this either last week or 2 weeks ago. I love Hurt Business and New Day going one-on-one with each other. I think there's some business to be done there, and I would like to see them go back and forth. What are your thoughts on, if we're going towards TLC with those two, what are your thoughts on them going after each other week after week?
Yeah, that's great and all, but let's also get some heat in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because right now they're not getting any heat. And that's the part that's frustrating for me. I mean, New Day has been outsmarting and beating the Hurt Business. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like the Hurt Business is beating their asses and you're getting sympathy on the New Day.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, the babies keep outsmarting them, so why would they want to keep wrestling them?
So maybe that happens next week where finally the Hurt Business is done playing games and just beats the shit out of them.
They better. They're going to have to. Otherwise, you know what? This feud is going to come to a screeching halt.
Yeah, because I mean, they need to get that, and I don't like to use the terms in the industry because I'm not in the industry, but they need to get the heat quickly, and they need to beat the crap out of them.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it sounds like we're on the same page. I mean, Dave, you've been doing wrestling way better than I have, but it sounds like I might be listening.
Well, thank God you are. It only took you 20-some years.
What have we known each other? At least 20-some years, right?
At least, yeah. At least that.
Let's do a quick talk about PWR Draft. We have a lot of big stuff coming up. I know that Drew had that big pickup over the weekend. I thought that worked out well for him. He now has who did he end up dropping? It was oh my God, he told me and I completely forgot about it.
He dropped Edge.
And he picked up Bianca Belair. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
But
hey, that was a great pickup for him because
I think so.
But like I told him, Edge isn't going to come back for a couple more months. He's just losing points. Like for me, I got Killer Cross on the bench. Right. Eventually, I got to decide, hey, how much longer do I want to keep having 0 points out of him?
Right. And this, I want Drew to hear this, and I need Linda and Damian and you to hear this too. I know you're thinking about it, and I'm thinking about it. After that AEW pay-per-view, better hope that my AEW talent don't get injured because they're getting dropped quickly.
Yeah,
because after that pay-per-view, they don't have any more points to score for the season.
Oh, really? The last one is in February for them?
That's the last AEW pay-per-view.
Oh, well, they can only be dropped if they're hurt. So
that's what I said. They better start, like I said, if they get injured.
You're wishing ill will.
I am not. Actually, I only have one set of AEW talent, and one of them is wrestling with a torn something. So, but he's still competing, and he'll have a title match coming up December 2nd.
Who do you have?
Omega and Paige.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I have Ambrose.
You got Ambrose. You've got more than Ambrose. Yeah. I thought you had somebody else.
I have Ambrose and MJF.
Yeah, and MJF. You're not going to drop those.
Well, I'm fully expecting Ambrose to drop the belt to Paige.
To Omega.
Yeah, that's it. Omega. Yeah. But
unfortunately, it's not a special event, so I don't get any points out of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so he's going to lose. He better lose it on the 2nd.
That's right. Right, because he would lose nothing from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And not that you're wishing ill will, but if anything, yeah.
Well, I don't care if you lose a title. Just don't get hurt,
Right. Well, what I'm saying is after Revolution, if they get hurt, they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you pick up Edge.
And that's when you pick up Edge. Or, luckily Drew is still holding on to Charlotte because she should be back in a couple months.
But again, that's another person getting him 0 points.
Yeah.
You have Edge getting him 0 points, and you have Brock Lesnar getting him 0 points. Well, he cleared
those out now. Those have been cleared.
Well, right. But I'm saying, he carried that dead weight for a long time.
Yeah. And that's why he's behind Damian Nelson.
Yes. Well, yes, exactly.
I mean, it's Damian Nelson. Damian Nelson doesn't even know what state he's in right now.
No, he does not. No, not even close.
Just kidding. We love Damian. But Dave, we love you too. And folks, don't forget again this week, no shows for Thursday or Friday. It's holiday weekend. Go spend time with your family. Go do what you do, hunting, whatever it is. So for Dave Herro, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.